All right. It looks like it's pouring rain here in Japan. Welcome in to what looks to be a wet sprint qualifying. We've got 4 sessions for you tonight. Sorry if you can hear my kid. He is screaming in the background. Um, So yeah, the sprint qualifying should be a 12-minute session into a sprint race, which will be a 9-lap session. We have the full wet tires, and we'll see if it's going to dry up or not for these drivers. Going along the line, we have Faint Fawn, who goes by Fawn. Lucid Cardiac, Lucid, Vivoda is Vivoda, Cloud City '08 is Cloud, MK7 Hitch is Hitch, Anime Boy is Anime, Mini Squatch is Squatch, Forever Slick is Josh, Mel Gibson is Mel, Goatly is Goat, the Yuppie is Yuppie, Matt Man is Matt, the Gronk 2017 is Gronk, Fate in the Alpine, the Sevens has moved up from Tier 2, Dismal Games is Dismal, and Kryptonic Swang is Kryptonic. Got a couple different changes for you. It's good to see the grid a little more full than usual. So 17 is kind of the borderline of the acceptable, like what feels like a full grid versus what doesn't. But Buddha was moved down into Tier 2, and Sevens replaces him in the Williams. Looks like a Williams is out. That is Sevens. And Flame has joined, so he's the 18th car. Hasn't really lost a lot of time here, so that's good for him. And Seven is going to struggle in the wet because he's used to using a little bit of traction, and this is his first race with no assists, probably. So, full wet is going to be crazy. Anyway, so yeah, Seven is up from Tier 2 as he goes off the track, and Buddha is down in from Tier 1 to Tier 2. Good luck to him, and hopefully he does well. As well as Coach demoting himself for Fate, who did drive Tier 1 last season, retired before a race this year, and now is back just after the halfway point. A lot of drivers changing places between these weeks, but if it means that we have a little bit more of a full grid here, then we'll take it. So we are watching Seven struggle around the track, and we'll stay on board with him as he's going to be the first driver to get a lap done and figure out what the time is going to be for a full wet session. The timing charts will not look very similar to other tiers when it's dry for them, but the drivers all going out indicates that it will be a wet session, but we do have some drivers fitting the intermediate tires, so we'll see if they're able to set a quicker lap or if the full wets will be faster. They started on full wets and it has not stopped raining, so I would assume the wet tires are the better tire here as Sevens goes straight off the track into turn 1 and invalidates. So Vivoda, the first driver to finish, and usually has a good track record in the rain. As thank you, Nightbot. Finally, it's plugging the other streams. So if you want to go see what Tier 2 is up to, check out Bucko stream. Always happy to plug the activity that is going on in Can-Am. Vivoda gets a little squirrely out of Sector 1. I can't see the time because the chat message is right in front of it. Not sure what that Sector 1 time was. Probably going to have to move the chat. Might just move it to, I don't know, bottom left maybe. Vivoda coming through, finishing Sector 2. A little wide at Spoon corner, and wants to get a good exit here. 130R is a little bit more dangerous in the wet. Definitely have to take it a different way. And it looks like Vivoda takes it cleanly into the final chicane here. Not sure how many people practiced in the full wet. Doubt very many. And probably a bunch of drivers on their dry setups as well. And Vivoda sets the pace with a 151.5. We'll see how Gronk maybe is dealing with the rain, as we'll see a bunch more times come in. Kryptonic goes 4 seconds faster with a 47.3, and that honestly might be the time to beat, as he is on the full wets. Mel going a 147.5, only 2/10 off, and Gronk on the inters. We'll see where his time lines up. It looks like he is going pretty quickly through the two sectors compared to the times that I saw from Vivoda. It almost looks like 6 seconds faster, so maybe a 145, a 143, something like that for Gronk. We'll see as he rounds the last corner, and a 143.5. The inters are definitely quicker here, and we should see the drivers switch, as they don't have much time to get around the track and get laps in, so it'll be interesting to see the drivers get those tires off and get onto the inters, as it's been a good call for these drivers. But again, an invalidation is rough and is going to be tough to overcome for Dismal, but the tires don't necessarily wear on these inters, as Yuppie goes P2 with a 145, and Matt going a 148, Anime a 152. Lucid goes a 142.3 for a Mercedes 1-2 at the moment. We see drivers pitting off those full wet tires. And here comes Cloud on the inters. Easy for drivers to fire it back up in the sprint qualifying and just get a lap time in. Don't need to pit every lap to mitigate the tire wear. The wet tires don't wear too much, and it looks like it stopped raining now, or at least raining hard. So the track looks to be drying up, and I think the inters are going to get better as the session goes on. It's just going to be about who can time up the lap and get basically the last lap done on track. Probably we'll see a couple drivers pit at the very end and probably be going in right about now, and we'll need to come out with probably about 2.5 minutes remaining to get around the track and get a lap, as Cloud goes a 148. See Squatch still out on the full wet tires and just went around, so he's going to be P4, but I don't think he's going to have enough time to pit. So this will likely be his time, which will be on the full wet tires. But we're seeing drivers and come across, and now Hitch splits the Mercedes with a 143.2 on the intermediates. So the intermediates appear to be faster. It's just about who can drive the lap now and keep their car steady through the lap and not make any mistakes. See where Goat can end up. 2-lap old inters, and honestly might be good to warm those tires. As we see a Williams dead in the gravel. So the couple warm-up laps might aid Goat as he comes through, and it looks like he's quickest through the first two sectors. The top 3 out of 4 drivers in the pits right now, all looking to get out at the last second. Goat sets the fastest lap at a 141.5, but that's only provisional pole for now. Josh still out on the full wets as well. But Mel and Squatch with decent times on the full wets, and they'd love for qualifying to be over right now, but I think a lot of drivers are going to end up jumping them if they can put together a decent lap on inters. We missed Fate's 9th place lap as something just went flying. Yeah, it looks like Josh's end plate just went flying over the catch fence as he's retired from the session now, and Hitch setting the fastest lap by only 15 thousandths over Goat. We see the drivers moving along here. Matt still on the wet tires. Doesn't look like he's going to be able to improve. Fawn on the intermediate tires. Him, Flame, and Dismal all looking to set laps here. All on out laps, and could be poised for a good result if they can jump a lot of these runners who only got laps done on the full wet, but we can't see how much time is left in the session because of the caution, which apparently is never ever going to end because of an Alpine driving extremely slow. Who is that? So, Fawn starting his lap, Dismal before him. Anime has retired from the session. Don't know if that's on track or in the pits. I don't necessarily see him on track, maybe. Dismal through Sector 1 needs to make sure he does not invalidate. 7 does retire as well. Not sure if that one is on the track. Looks like he did pull into the pits there. Dismal trying to get out of P18 here as a driver has just jumped way up. I think that was Yuppie up to P4. The 143.1, but still quite the gap between him and Lucid. Dismal rounding the hairpin here, coming through Sector 2. As Matt also goes P6, and the session has finished. Squatch could not get out on those intermediate tires, so he finishes P9 for now. Cloud also in P12, not able to get a lap together. Going to be probably one of the lowest starting spots for him. Fate in the pits also in P7, and the drivers who retired obviously will be starting 13th, 14th, and 17th, but they could be knocked down here as we are on board with Dismal, who could set a quicker lap, and looks like he's going to be able to do so, but just how quick as Kryptonic snatches pole away, but Dismal to the line, and he goes pole. Now will Flame and Fawn be able to respond to this? Fawn coming around the corner. He's quickest, and now Flame is on an invalid lap, but Goat in the last second. The Aston Martin team 1-2 in the final couple seconds, but it's not over yet. They need to hold on to this position. Lucid quickly taking it back, and everyone's going provisional pole here. Gronk goes P2 for now, a Mercedes 1-2. But let's see if Hitch is going to be able to let that stand, or if he's going to be able to jump up. We'll see. To the line here, and he goes pole. We had about 7 provisional pole laps at the end there. Every single finisher jumping to P1 and then filing their way back after the next laps completed. So from 1st to 8th, a 3-second gap, but all finishing their laps within about a minute. So just goes to show how quickly the track was drying up at the end there. Hitch in first, the Mercedes team in second and third, and then the Aston team in fourth and fifth, Yuppie in P6, Dismal P7. I feel like that's their exact qualifying before disaster at Silverstone. And there's the rest of your drivers, 2 not able to get a lap, and a lot of those bottom half just ended up getting laps only on the wet tires, so weren't able to find the intermediates and have time to get a lap done on those tires and find the time to get themselves in the top 10. But now we have a dry session, so I assume that all the drivers were out there in the wet on their dry setups. So could look a lot different in the race now that it's dry. Some drivers may have maybe tailored their setup for wet, but we don't know if there will be wet weather for the feature sprint or the feature race. So we will have to stand by and see what this screen shows us before those start. Let's move the chat to a different side of the screen here. Do this really quick. Yep, display chat, and let's try bottom left. Okay, there, that's better down there. Ignoring my core members. Yep, there's no giveaway. I did think about the hats today, but I've had no time. So I apologize. When did I promise you a giveaway? I don't know what I'm giving away, so it makes it kind of hard. I'm going to time you out on Twitch. Oh, tier 3, it is pouring rain. I think it's going to be rain in the sprint race in tier 3, and we can check in on tier 2. Looks to be like a dry race there, watching Pizza on his formation lap. There's Logan as well, driving his formation lap. As we wait here, let's see, what are the standings before we get started? In the Drivers' Championship, Hitch still leads by 41 to Kryptonic, and Kryptonic is ahead of Cloud by 32. Goat in 4th, tied with Heatley, who is not here tonight, and Dismal behind them in 6th. Lucid 7th, Squatch 8th, Fawn 9th, and Yuppie in 10th, with Gronk in 11th. Then the Constructors, Alpine still in P1, behind is McLaren, only by 14 points, but Cloud starting quite a ways down the grid might hinder that. And then the Kick Sauber team in 3rd. So we will see how this pans out. Now that everything is dry, we'll see what tires everyone shows. We've got the mediums and the softs, and let me tell you, there is absolutely no way that the soft tires are going that long. 9 laps in Japan, which is one of the worst tracks for tire degradation. There's just no way. I feel like Japan is so bad on your tires that 9 lap old softs is just a ridiculous ask. But obviously I haven't driven much. I have not driven much on this game, but usually Japan is terrible on tire wear. Let me straighten out my cord on my mic, and then I will plug it back in. So definitely the best qualifying result for the Mercedes teammates who opt for the soft tire, Hitch on the medium tire. So Hitch will be able to attack later in the sprint, but we'll see if he even gives up the place or if he's able to hold turn 1. 12 laps in Suzuka. So you might as well do a soft medium in the feature. That is just crazy. But you should see Gronk and his teammate Lucid get a great start, and we're definitely going to be on board with Lucid as we flip to positions changed. Then I'm going to take this off. We'll get a full start here. A full view, everything distracting off the camera. And Lucid is angled right into Hitch, and we'll see if he can get P1 into the first corner. So we see 5 red lights. And we're off here in Suzuka. Looks like Lucid gets a crazy start, and he's already P1 fully ahead into turn 1. What a start from him. Gronk's still behind. We don't have any major losers out on the start yet. Flame up a couple spots. Cloud still down 1. And Lucid rockets away from the rest of the field here. Goat and Gronk staying, holding Dismal and Kryptonic up 2. Fawn down 2. Matt and Yuppie have, well, not flipped places. Yuppie way off, and we see Dismal go off the track. Kryptonic gets around. Is Fawn going to be able to fight it? Maybe coming into the hairpin here. Doesn't look like it, as Dismal goes pretty defensive here as we go on board with Fawn right behind, and you can see the train of drivers following closely, trying to get some early moves done in the sprint race. Have to be a little more opportunistic than the full race here. Throw on the tires again. So the medium runners are mostly what make up the top, but the soft runners of Matt and Yuppie on the tail of Fawn here, and this would be their chance to get up there. Thank you, Amazon, for the stop strategies. A 0 stop. Do not have to pit here in the sprint race. The top couple drivers have fanned out. Lucid across the line first and might be under attack here. Here comes Hitch down the inside, but Lucid staying enough ahead where Hitch doesn't really go for the move, just maybe trying to make those soft tires feel a little bit of the pressure here as Lucid carries on. And look who's right behind Gronk. Goat trying to make a move, and Gronk maybe struggling a little bit as we do see Flame tumble his way down. We see Cloud have to pit. Oh, and Gronk goes flying off the track and then rejoins alongside Goat, but Goat takes the place. And now Kryptonic maybe going for a move here. A double lockup contact with Gronk. Stays on his inside, and Gronk is likely going to keep the position here. As Dismal got a front row seat to that. Kryptonic trying to be opportunistic, but wasn't able to find a gap at the moment. Gronk's still on those soft tires, so any overlap probably has not happened yet. We'll ride on board with Hitch as he's making inroads to Lucid right behind him before this DRS. There's the detection point. Breaking into the chicane here, and still right behind him. Lucid with maybe a better exit, but more power for Hitch as he gets the DRS open and flies by as Matt sets the fastest lap with a 1:31.1. But Hitch overtaking Lucid for the lead, and now we'll see how Lucid responds to that, as Goat is out of DRS for right now, but has the entire lap to make it up. No spots for DRS. And still everyone racing relatively closely. We can see this back couple pack as Fate's first race back. He has the gap to the DRS of Yuppie. Still no soft tires. Maybe they'll die off, but yet to see anything from these two drivers. Matt and Yuppie still neck and neck and looking for a position on Fawn, but I think everyone is pretty much the same pace up at the front. Now DRS might be lost as Lucid goes wide at Spoons, both exits. Got to be careful to avoid track limit penalties, and Goat now within DRS. Gronk holding his position, but Kryptonic is right behind him, 2.5 tenths. Maybe down the inside, does not try it again after last time's lockup. We'll see if he's able to get the move done now into DRS, and it looks like Gronk has had a moment now defending the inside, but is going to be no match for Kryptonic as he breezes by. Dismal still close in the distance, and Gronk following closely and able to stay in as Flame retires. Looks like it may have been in the pits. Yes. No. Just Josh going into the pits. Now 2 seconds. Goat making it up into second, and Kryptonic getting up into fourth. The Mercedes team has lost positions now. And Dismal up into fifth, but now taking a little too much curb and dipping his tires into the gravel. Looked a lot worse than what it probably felt, to be honest. He's able to hang on to it and keep it moving here as he runs away from Gronk, who now has Fawn right on the back, as Josh does retire in Sector 1. Flame has left the session, doesn't realize there's another race to come. He is just done with Japan. Gronk pulling away from Fawn a bit. Hitch now has opened up that gap to 3.5 seconds, and Lucid might look to be fighting back up towards the front. Goat going defensive down the inside, and Lucid not able to get close enough for a move into turn 1. Kryptonic now coming up to the back of this train. Dismal as well. Lucid the only one on the soft tires so far. As everyone else has held position, Fate has made his way back into the DRS now of Matt and Yuppie. And now Squatch is the one who is out of the DRS, and him and Mel racing a lonely race. Vivoda, both the Williams are down here, and what happened to Lucid? Looks like he went off somewhere. You can see a bit of gravel, and maybe struck the wall as he is out of this race. Poised for a top 5 finish, but is now a DNF, and now Dismal doesn't have anyone to get DRS off of. So 1.7 away from him, as Dave says, a Lucid puncture. Apparently must have been, but you informed me that the softs last 12 laps. Gronk behind Dismal, and I don't know how much he's going to be able to fight, as Fawn might be the one fighting Gronk for the position, but here he comes, not close enough to go for move. As Squatch and Mel flip positions down in 10th, only the top 8 score from the sprint race. On the wing cam of Matt, apparently. Fate has made up a spot plus the spot from Lucid's DNF, and now looking to score a couple more points in his first race back. Looks to be in prime position, and we'll see how aggressive he is throughout the lap. As he is behind Yuppie. Kryptonic is right on the back of Goat here, right side by side, and there's contact, and Kryptonic is around. as he tries to get it straight and back on the track. But contact with Goat maybe squeezed him a little too much and couldn't take the corner side by side going into Spoons. And now Dismal is in a podium position as a Ferrari is stopped. That's Vivoda, who's had an issue. Down in 13th. Anime is in 12th now. Dismal still holding off Gronk and Fawn, and this train eager to make some moves as Fate not able to get anywhere on this DRS straight, and neither is anyone. As everyone holds position for now. And Kryptonic 2.5 seconds behind Matt. As Squatch up into 10th, and Vivoda now in last in the pits. So getting rid of those mediums, it looks like, for probably just a pair of softs. And there it is as he goes back onto the track. Squatch 4 seconds to go to Kryptonic, and Matt starting to feel the tire wear of these softs now as he's losing a bit of traction, and Gronk is now out of the DRS at Dismal, who, if he can push Gronk out of that DRS, he might be sitting pretty to get a sprint podium here. But Gronk fighting his way back, now 8/10 and gaining down the straight so far. Now losing a bit of time, the detection point right there, so 8.5 he is able to stay in well within DRS here, and he'll have it for at least one more lap. We've only got this lap and one more to go. See if anyone in this train can make any moves. Doesn't look like anyone is close enough. And everyone stays the same. Kryptonic is now on the back of Matt, looking to make up a couple positions at the end of the sprint race. And Matt, the first driver, struggling on those soft tires, and Kryptonic looking for a place to get by here. Fate and Yuppie into the hairpin. Fate's able to make up another spot here on Yuppie, but now side by side, as you can see, into Spoons where Goat and Kryptonic came together. These pair keep it clean, and Fate does get the move done. Yuppie not eager to give up that spot, and maybe we'll be able to fight back with the DRS, but looks like he might be pretty far back as now Gronk gives up a position down the straight to Fawn. Those soft tires might really be hurting here. We'll see if Fate can get the move done on Gronk into the DRS straight. Doesn't have much battery left. And Gronk now with DRS is able to stay ahead, and Dismal has ran away as, whoa, we see Fate go flying off the track here, trying to be aggressive, and Kryptonic behind thinking maybe he can get another spot. Important championship points for him, but the drivers is slipping away here, and any small mistake can cause a major setback when you're already behind by quite a few points. Yuppie in 6th. Fate still behind him, now looking to make the move again. Isn't going to do it at the hairpin, and Gronk a little wide. Yuppie right behind him. Not going to be able to go for any crazy moves here, but Hitch down the road looks to take P1, and Fate again, this time around the outside, gets the move done in an unconventional spot, and will he be able to get Gronk in time as Hitch now coming across the line to take P1. Goat is going to be in P2, but we'll have some footage in the steward's room for that contact with Kryptonic. Dismal behind him in P3 to finish your sprint podium. Fawn in P4 just behind. Gronk holds on for P5. Fate and Yuppie battling the final couple laps. Fate ends up taking that spot from him in P6. Yuppie P7 and Kryptonic, the last of the point scorers, P8 for the sprint. Matt in 9th, Squatch in 10th would be feature scores, but not in the sprint. Mel was close behind him, and Animate a little bit down the road in 12th. Cloud behind him, got some damage, had to pit. 7 in his first race, down from Tier 2, up into Tier 1. A little bit of a cold shower in 14th, and then Vivoda in 15th. As Lucid, Josh, and Flame DNF, and Flame leaves the session. So we will only have 17 drivers in the feature qualifying. And there is your finishing order. There is the gaps. I know in case our stat sheet doesn't work, people would like to see that. And there is your race director. Only one penalty for 7. I don't think it would make a difference if he did successfully appeal that or not. We will get an invite out to Flame as the session starts, and then we will watch feature qualifying to set the grid once again for the longer race. And it looks like we're going to get a dry session here. Not sure what happened to Cloud. It was a wet qualifying, and it doesn't look like he was able to get a lap on the inters like he wanted to, so started P12, got damage in the sprint, and then had to pit. So he was out of the points. We're going to go invite Flame slow. He said his internet went out, so not sure if he's able to join or not, but we'll send it just in case. And here we go for feature qualifying. So now instead of 9 laps, I think it's 27. And now Cloud going to be the first driver out to set a lap here. Doesn't want to blunder this qualifying after a rough sprint. But now all the drivers who blundered qualifying by using the wrong tire in the wet will not have much of an option but to go on the softs here. So shouldn't see any more craziness like we did in the sprint qualifying. But I'm sure we will see more of the same in the race in terms of drivers fighting for every position and getting some overtakes done and some crazy spots. Good night, Dave. Thanks. So we will ride on board with Cloud and see a lap from the driver's perspective. And here is the first flying lap of feature qualifying. There it is, a 127.4 to open us up. So we get a lap on board with Cloud. A nice little sights and sounds lap. Nope, the giveaway did not happen. Josh is in second with a 131. Goat is now in fourth with a 137. And Dismal with a McLaren provisional 1-2 with only 4 times on the board. 8 tenths behind his teammate. 7 with a 150. So obviously some improving to do. As Lucid got a front row in the sprint, but wasn't able to finish the race, and now see what he can do here. And puts himself on the front row as 7 retires. So was in, looks like into the wall. So he will not be able to improve that 150. And if every driver finishes with a respectable time, I think he's going to be falling down into last. Matt goes at 29.0, which is 8 tenths behind Dismal. There we can see the gap to pole. That's kind of cool. I wish you could see interval in quali, but you cannot. Fate on his lap. Getting through Sector 1 in a purple time. You can see some grass come up there as he was going through Spoon Corner, but keeps it valid. Through Sector 2, will this also be purple? No. We'll see what time he has for us. It's going to be 129.038, which puts him P4. Squatch on his lap, everyone else in the pits so far. Maybe taking a little bit of a breather after that sprint race. Good time too, still able to probably get 2 laps. Squatch, the second sector was purple. But the track map usually lies to me. Squatch goes a P4, 128.5 for him. Would be, I think, his best qualifying of the year on the second row, if it can stand. Fawn starting his lap. 5 people watching. Hello, everyone. Just getting through feature qualifying. Not too many drivers out on track right now, so right on board with Fawn. Hitch and Yuppie now starting their outlaps behind. The giveaway is never. I can just say that the giveaway will be in the future at some obscure date, but I know If I say the date too close, then I will get spammed with messages on about the giveaway on that certain date, and I'll have to come up with something. Okay. Figures. No, I didn't touch the merch. I told the Aston team that I thought about the hats today, but I didn't have the time to redesign or look for it. Don't worry, we'll get the Aston hats. We'll get the Aston hats a full season after their season concluded. They were French anyway? Fawn P4. What do you mean they were French? Dave doesn't mean the whole team was French. Do I have any of my own merch? That's a good question. No. I have a Can-Am hat that Logan made, the OG hat, but I do not have any of the ones that I designed. I probably could order it. I've liked the stuff that I designed, so, I mean, there's that. I can order it and model it one day. Do I want a shirt? I don't know if I would get a shirt. I'm more of a hat guy. What shirt? Is there not a shirt on there? Oh. I don't wear hats all the time. Yeah, you know what else causes baldness? Wearing a swim cap and swimming in chlorine every day. Yuppie, P8. Now P9. Hitch, P2. Matt was P8 while we weren't looking. Anime improves, P11. Okay. Is that all? Seriously? Is that all in the merch store? Am I... Okay, let me go and look. I swear there's more. It's not just like 2 things. I at least have drafts on there. Oh yeah, I gotta go here and then click merch. Oh, there's the hat. What are you talking about? There isn't a shirt. There's a bucket hat, the trucker hat, which is what I would get. Long shit dry fit. Oh my. Dave, you didn't even go to bed. I told you good night already. Gronk P8. If we got Nike dry fit merch and you're complaining about the Streamlabs pricing of their merch, a Nike dry fit's going to be like $65. Why is there 8 people watching all of a sudden when we're having a conversation that's not even close? Cloud took provision. Oh, no. Cloud's been on provisional poll. Hitch is only behind him by Whoa. Hitch is only behind him by 1,000. And Kryptonic's only behind him by 1,000. When have you seen this? And that's the most expensive lawnmower you're going to be seeing. Don't hit the braking signs. Successfully avoided the braking signs here. Anime retires with a 133. I like all the colors of the trucker hats. Okay. Dave's going to be talking about sleeping the entire race, but not actually go to bed. I need to turn chat off. Fate coming around sector 2. Looks like a bit of a cleaner lap than his first one. We'll see the time. Down a full second. Fell asleep at the wheel, went onto the grass here. But a 28 low would put him up into 5th. And looks like he almost lost the car there. Was able to snap it back. Gets to the line. It's going to be a 28.03, which is 5th place. No one is running a lap right now. Oh, Josh just started one. Looks like missed the entry of turn 2 a bit there. A little shaky. These curbs are dangerous through turn 1. I almost don't want the top 3 drivers to improve because it just looks cool. 1,000th apart for the top 3 drivers. That is crazy. And Cloud set that lap early, so he is not messing around in the feature qualifying. And he is out on the lap before everyone else in this session here. Oh, Josh couldn't snap the car to make that corner. Drifted a bit wide. Still way up on his time, so worth finishing. But might only net him a couple spots, as it looks like a braking sign is gone, which may have hindered his final chicane. And he does still get 2 spots. Goat still in 13th now on an out lap. Cloud going through his lap here. It's Crofty with a K. Cloud down on his time. He's going to ruin the chain. The top 3 each 1,000th away from each other. But Cloud is going to finish and improve by 600ths. I'm actively being slandered in a public chat. I'm going to take legal action. Fate retires from the session in P5. 14th through 17th also retires, and Flame, his internet went out, so he will not be taking part in the qualifying session or the race. He's the only finisher. All the people who have DNF'd also have technically finished. Lucid invalidates his last lap, so he will be now 5th as Dismal pushes him down, improves by 0.2. Kryptonic is going to be the first driver to improve. He is currently on pace for provisional pole here. Let's see what he has in store for us. Through Sector 2, through the hairpin. Coming up to Spoon Corner. Gronk finishes in 7th. And Matt goes into the pits with a 29.0. Squatch with a 28.5, now in 9th. Kryptonic was down. Fawn all the way up into fourth. Tries to get a little bit of a toe, down 3/10. What about his rival here? Is down only 1/10.5. Kryptonic might be on pace to take pole. Goat now improves, but Kryptonic is able to best him by quite some time, and now Hitch is going to need a miracle Sector 3 to get this pole. And he does! By 800ths, too. He was not nearly as far down on his time as Kryptonic, but in the final sector, he was able to find it, and now Cloud going into the pits. And we are going to have to wait for his car to fully retire. But Hitch takes provisional pole in the last possible second from Kryptonic, who goes a 27.08, only 800ths. Goat 2/10 behind in P3, and Cloud just behind him by a couple hundredths. Then we have about a 5.5 gap from Cloud to Fawn. Dismal 200ths behind him. Lucid 7,000ths behind him. About 600ths between Lucid and Fate. Then about a 1/10 between Fate and Gronk, and then 4/10 from Gronk to Squatch to round out the top 10. And there we see the top 9, or the top 8, within pretty much a second of each other. Top 10 within a second and a half. And Flame not technically racing, so we'll just cut him off. Oh. 7, very close to taking P16, only needs about 19 more seconds. And you know, that's nothing. That's only an entire sector on the lap. Looks like we're going to have a dry race, so expect pretty much more of the same that we saw in the sprint race, just a little bit longer and some more strategies. Yeah, well, Panda also uses assists. That's the big problem. So the big problem about comparing tiers here is that the assist regulations are very different. So Tier 1 is doing this all with no assists. Tier 2 has the medium assist is what I call it. And then Tier 3 is full assist. Sounds like a Tier 1 problem. I mean, again, P7 I don't think is that crazy. The oldest cat has moseyed out here, and he's ready for the race to get underway. Excited to hang out in the living room. Don't get on my PlayStation much more, so the cats are always happy to come out and sleep in the living room. There's a difference between you and my cat. And the difference number 1 is the distance away from my living residence. And number 2, the species. right. The drivers have been told to ready up, so hopefully we will be able to get the session underway. And away we go for the formation lap. We'll see what the strategies are here, as everyone on the medium tire, Gronk and Goat on the hard tire. Not too much of a difference. But I could see, I mean, with the amount of DNFs that we've seen in the sprint race and in the qualifying session, I think it might be safe to say we might see a safety car, but Amazon predicting a two-stopper. We'll see if that comes true, but a majority of the races have been one-stop affairs. So we'll see if that changes. Dave, what do you think about your fantasy football matchup this week in your French league? Oh, you probably said it in French. Okay, we are ready to get underway here. Yeah, Flame is a ghost. So Flame will be out of this race before it starts, and we'll see the top two as the lights are out very quickly. It looks like a McLaren got a great start, pulling into the middle, but hasn't made up any positions. Now Cloud up one spot. And we do see Mercedes off the track behind Lucid now, going down the order, down 3 spots, and the front couple look to have gotten away fine. Goat down 1 spot, but did start on the alternate strategy. He's got the other McLaren behind him. We'll go on board with someone like Yuppie, who sees a battle behind him, and now Matt off into the grass. And now he's down 3 spots. And something just exploded. I think it was just the cars bottoming out. Lucid behind Yuppie here. Yuppie going a little bit defensive, and Lucid pulling alongside around the outside, and we see some contact behind as the Williams and the Racing Bulls back there maybe getting into it, and Lucid now all of a sudden down the inside of Yuppie and able to take the spot back. Finds himself back into the points. Josh and Mel racing towards the back. 7 and Matt. Matt looking right behind him, and whoa! See Josh go off into the wall and luckily ghosted it before coming onto the track. Not sure what happened there. As Matt getting a much better exit, maybe a tiny bit of contact to 7, unsettling the car, and now a drag race between 7 and Matt. Seven pulls ahead, and he must have a lower downforce setup. He's able to power through. But now Matt immediately taking the position back before we even get into the S's. And he's hoping to break away. The Ferrari teammates just out of the points, looking to hunt down the Mercedes teammates, who are all behind the lone Haas, who's in 8th, holding the DRS and keeping the train together. Gronk, the only one without DRS here. 1.2 behind, but still right there. Again, Goat and Gronk are the two on hards. Josh changing onto hards. So we'll see how that comes into play later as we go for stops in this race. Wonder if it'll be a one stop or actually a two stop. Everyone was so excited for the new tire degradation model, and then all of a sudden it just became a one stop again. So not very entertaining per se, as Dismal gets by Goat and now 7 needing to pit. He dives in early and now will fall to around where Josh is. McLaren looking poised to score well and hoping to just basically battle Hitch for this constructor, but Fate now being in Alpine should help them score a couple more points. Coach was not able to secure a point in the Tier 1 championship, so hopefully he'll be able to score a couple more points in Tier 2, but we will see how that unfolds as Nightbot is plugging the Tier 3 stream, if you want to go check that one out. All probably at different times in the races here. They might be a couple laps ahead or behind, usually is how that goes, but we will see. Everyone neat and tidy so far. This lap has been relatively uneventful as the two leaders now pulling away, and now we have a bit of a caution, but it looks like everything was able to keep going. Kryptonic gaining a bit on Hitch, but not going for a move there as Yuppie gets by Gronk. Oh. That's quite interesting. Sounds like in Tier 2 there must be a safety car then. Oh, as Kryptonic slides. A little bit of a Tokyo drift there through Sector 1, and now that's costing him some time to Hitch, as it's 7 tenths. The gap was almost 3 tenths as 7 speeds into the pit lane for his second pit stop of the race. Wouldn't necessarily be the debut that he would like. So if we pull up these stops, only 2 drivers have made stops and 7 has made 2 of them. And there's your positions change from qualifying. Not too many differences here, only up or down about 2 spots. Flame doesn't count, so... Oh, and we heard an absolute slam into the wall. I'm not sure what happened there, but we definitely heard something happen as Dismal gets by his teammate, who now might be Goat behind, might be experiencing the crossover period between the hards and the mediums. Fate on the back of everyone. Lucid hunting to get that DRS is Squatch now behind in 9th. Yuppie quite a ways back in 10th, 2 seconds, so no DRS for him. And Gronk just staying within that DRS range. Going to be fighting for a point here, and the rest of the drivers towards the back are a little more spaced out. We have quite the battle here. It's Goat and Cloud now gaining on Dismal and looking to box Goat in. McLaren teammates, and now Goat just smacks Cloud off the track. And does take the place, now coming up to 130R, and the McLaren teammates maybe boxing him in again and looking to force a mistake, force the issue, but now Fawn inserts himself into this battle. Has to avoid his teammate there, as we did have a caution. We have another caution in Sector 1. And Josh has DNF from the race. Caution in Sector 3. Fate has retired. And that's going to bring out the safety car. And Matt gets in for the stop. Mel gets in for the stop. Josh has left, and Fate's day has ended quite quickly, and now we'll see all the gaps shore up, as it doesn't look like it's a full safety car. Looks like it's just a VSC. So the gaps will not close up, but the drivers who do pit will get a cheap stop. And it looks to be... oh no, the race is still under VSC. Goat following very closely to Dismal. Through the hairpin they go, and because this VSC came out, Goat was right behind Dismal anyway. I'm sure they may have just gotten the restart call. And now DRS enabled, and there's a little bit of contact between the two. Nothing coming of it, and Cloud losing another position to Lucid now. But that was quite the hectic VSC to be on board. And now into the chicane, Goat going down the inside, but nothing going as Dismal has his elbows out, and now Goat with DRS does get by. And behind him, rapidly approaching, Fawn and Lucid, but they don't try anything from that far back, and now Lucid looks to have made the move through turn 2. Not sure how he was able to do that, but all of a sudden he was way ahead of Fawn. And he finds himself ahead as Goat now had an issue, and he completely spun off the track after Sector 1, and the alternate strategy doesn't necessarily matter how that was looking. He has lost out on pretty much all the positions, down 8 spots, and gonna have to keep his head down and see what he can do in the later stages of this race. Dismal gonna try to hold on to that P3, but Lucid charging through the field at the moment. Cloud behind in this train of drivers. Yuppie is caught up. Gronk is in here. It's been quite the battling in this DRS train. The leaders have fanned out, and Cloud not going to go for the move into the chicane. Maybe takes a little too much on entry. It was looking for an exit there. Gets loose and now opens the door for Squatch, who right alongside as Lucid gets by Dismal, and now a Ferrari Yuppie down the inside of Squatch. He does get the move, but no one able to get by Cloud. So Yuppie getting the move done on Squatch with both of them with DRS. Gronk right behind, waiting for another mistake. And Cloud bridging the DRS gap. Now From 3rd all the way down to 9th, this is where majority of the battles are coming from. We see Goat 6 tenths behind Voivoda. Where will he be able to make his move here? Into the hairpin. Voivoda leaves the door open, and then Goat opens up the steering, and Voivoda may not have really had a place to go. So he's now 2 seconds behind. And Goat is up into P10. Again, I think we might be seeing a couple instances of Goat in the steward's room here after the race. But that could just be me. Tier 1 drivers are pretty lenient when it comes to reporting, unless it really is either really bad or they're just tired of it. Oh boy. Okay, it sounds like the Tier 2 stewards will be even busier than Tier 1 if you want to go check out that stream as well. I'm sure Nightbot is queuing up that message to go check it out on Bucko's channel, or to check out the Tier 3 stream on Toasty's channel. And Goat has retired, and I think Goat has brought out the safety car. Not sure what happened, if we can maybe see it on an onboard. Scanning for Goat's car, did not see it, but Matt gets the place, so it is. Thank you, marshals, for getting the car off the track in about 3 seconds. Always doing their best job in F125, and we will have a safety car here. Likely see all the cars file into the pits, get their stop, get onto the hard tires, and likely go to the end of the race. So kind of taking out the strategy of this race here. Just a pretty standard one stop now, especially for the medium runners. Don't know if the hard runners will be able to last. I think it almost might be smart to just, if you have 2 sets of hards, just box one off and pit again for another set. Cloud trying to form a gap to his teammate, and we'll see how much he gets held up by Dismal going into the pits. There he goes, stationary, not for too long, and looks to have lost maybe a position or two. Yuppie and Squatch in front. Keeps Gronk behind everyone on the hard tires, Gronk on the medium tires, and Mel with a drive-through penalty. That is not ideal. He decided not to pit, but instead of pitting, you still probably have to follow Delta, and that is going to put a damper on Mel's chances of snagging a point or two here, as VC7 may be trying to unlap himself here. Let's see if he can. Is he going to get the prompt? I mean, this would be a first. I have never seen a car unlap itself in F125. I hope he can. So the drivers that were in the lead, is he going for it? Is he allowed to? He's either allowed to or he's getting disqualified. And then drives off the track. I will say, if this race... What is he doing? Why is he pitting? Why would he pit? Why? Oh my. I was about to go on this heartfelt speech about how great it was to see the drivers cooperate and get out of the way and keep their positions in the race while letting a lapped car through to let said lapped car unlap himself, which I've never seen the game actually do. And it's thrown in the trash as Seven had to change his wing and put on soft tires and is now last. And there's no way that 14 drivers are going to get out of the way in sequential order. There's a ghost, so the ghost isn't going to ever get out of the way. But the drivers cooperated. They did the right thing, which it isn't necessarily in the rules. I think it might be in the rules, but no one ever follows it. But it's basically try to let the lap car through by getting off the track. And when someone else in front is off the track, the game will say, take the position. So the lapped car can take that position. Then when the lapped car is the car behind the safety car, it should just tell it to unlap itself. Now, sure, Seven might have needed soft tires and a new wing, but if he had done another lap behind the safety car, even with the broken wing, he would have been able to stay on the lead lap. But now, behind everyone, a lap down, and the race is pretty much going to be over for him. And if the safety car goes another lap, he could have 100% made it back. If it was in this lap, he probably would be not even close. But I think now that the safety car is going one more lap, I think Seven would have been able to stay out this past lap. He would be pitting right now, which now he's driving on the gravel. He would be pitting right now, and then he'd probably be about half a lap ahead, and he'd have to make up about half a lap. But I don't know why you wouldn't do whatever it took to stay on the lead lap. He does not take the gift of unlapping yourself in an F1 game that I legitimately have never seen before. I've tried to force it. I mean, I've been a lap down, and I'm pretty sure I either ran into the safety car or passed it and got disqualified immediately. I have never seen someone that's been able to unlap themselves. And that gift, the gift of being lapped and then being able to get on the lead lap, was short-lived. I was so excited. At least it's given me something to talk about. Every driver on the hard tires. I don't think the medium tires are going to last to the end, sadly. So the alternate strategy, in fact, did not work out. Many times it doesn't usually. We've almost always gotten a safety car about halfway through every Grand Prix. So, what's another one? Safety car in this lap. You see all the drivers keeping their tires warm down the straight. We'll watch the restart on board with Kryptonic, see if he can get a good getaway. And see if this safety car now helps him stay in the DRS. This driver started to space out as Hitch gets going pretty much right after the chicane. And everyone gets a decent restart. Dismal with a better restart. Yuppie behind him. Squatch also about 5/10, and Cloud, maybe one of the few caught napping here. Saw a second, but is now making up that time a little bit. We have a caution in Sector 1. Not sure who it is. Not seeing anything. Yeah, not. I think that might just be glitched, as every car is now through Sector 1. The top two now within DRS of each other. We'll see how long that stands. Only one DRS zone on the track, but I would say it's relatively effective. This will be the last F1 game with DRS, the last F1 season with DRS, where we change to X and Y mode, and we'll see how the drivers handle that. I think as we have maybe a real caution, no, just Cloud getting passed by Gronk, but everyone will be excited to get F1 26 due to the same reasons of F1 22, with big regulation changes as well as DRS being completely changed, as Mel goes to serve his drive-through and then gets another 10-second time penalty. Not great for him. No caution. We just have battling between Gronk and Cloud. Mel has had enough. Retires from the session. Knows he's not going to have any chance at getting back into the points. Saves himself another probably 20 minutes of this race. He said, "It's time for bed." And there he goes. 14 drivers left. 17, well, of the 18 driver grid. Lost one between races, and then have lost a couple more due to DNFs in the feature race. The leaders still close to each other. Lucid a half second, and Kryptonic about 0.8 away from our leader Hitch. Fawn dropping off a bit and might be under attack without having DRS, excuse me. Seven, that's a 3-second time penalty for him. Gronk getting by Squatch. He's going to make that move. Stick on the medium tires, but I think later in this race is going to be regretting those tires, as he still has 12 laps to go. The hard tire, the medium to hard, is the no-nonsense strategy that paid off due to the safety car. There's your top three driving away from Fawn in fourth. And then Gronk searching for the DRS of Yuppie in sixth. Not sure if he'll be able to make up that time, but we will keep an eye on that gap. Fawn's gap increasing. And Dismal's interval decreasing behind, so driving in his mirrors. Dismal and Yuppie on the charge. Gronk slowly but surely trying to get that DRS. 1.5 seconds now. This Anime gets a 3-second time penalty. The Williams team, the only one with penalties so far. Only one with penalties that hasn't DNF'd. How about that? Fawn now might be under attack. Dismal and Yuppie both very close, and there goes Dismal down the inside. Yuppie not going for a move yet. Caution in Sector 2 and 3. Car completely stopped in Sector 2. And I think Mel's car has finally found its home in the pits and pulling into the garage. Okay, and Mel's car came out of the pits and is now sitting in Sector 1. Not sure what the AI thinks, but there goes the marshals, and there goes our caution, finally. The top three spacing out a bit, Hitch setting the fastest lap, trying to get away from these two drivers. Kryptonic looks to have had the DRS for that section. We now have a real caution in Sector 1. Kryptonic following closely behind, still hanging in there. And it looks like Hitch had an issue through the hairpin and is now right behind them. And these three are way ahead of the competition here behind, who are somewhat close to a DRS train, but not necessarily. Usually it's all pretty close. This Kryptonic now 2/10 away, and we'll ride on board with him going into this DRS straight. See if he can get a move done. We've got 10 laps to go. First real opportunity to attack. Going down the inside, but ran out of runway there into turn 1. And gonna have to try again eventually. Dismal holding off the horde behind. And it looks like Gronk has worked his way back into the DRS. Swatch now a little bit out of it in 9th. And Matt behind him, everyone without the DRS, and Vivoda behind Flame's Ghost now. Then the Williams pair of Anime and 7. 7 a lap down. Now Dismal gets a little shaky out of the hairpin, and Fawn right behind him. Wouldn't guess would be going for a move here. See if he can get it done into the DRS straight. Dismal, good exit out of Spoon Corner, but Fawn looks to be powering on, maybe using some of his battery. 4/10 the gap here. Leaders holding their gaps as they are starting that DRS straight. Doesn't look like any moves from any of them. Dismal down the inside, defending. Fawn creeping up, but nothing going there. Files neatly behind Dismal. Gronk still competing on these medium tires, but we'll see how long they truly last, as we've yet to see tires go the full distance so far in this race. When a VSC was able to cool the tires down, and then a safety car gave everyone a free tire change. So we'll see how the mediums are holding up when they're 17 laps old on that final lap. Might be a bit rough for Gronk here. He might lose more than one position as Cloud's right behind his tail. And we'll see. I'm sure Cloud wants to get a move on it, so should see him go for the move relatively quick. Shouldn't want to waste too much time. And he for sure doesn't want to be behind Gronk if Gronk is going to lose the DRS, and he would have to work pretty hard to bridge that gap, so. But no, as a matter of fact, looks like Cloud is staying behind for now. Gronk may have had the DRS, maybe just snuck into the detection point. Cloud not able to make the move, but Gronk hovering around that 1 second interval between him and Yuppie, and another 3-second time penalty for 7. We have a caution. I think it's just the lapped car. And that is correct. So this DRS train, no, the giveaway did not happen. DRS train, just a big McLaren sandwich, as now Vivoda gets a penalty, and Cloud sends a move before the chicane. And he should pick up the DRS as well. Dismal going defensive. Fawn not making a move. 7 with a 10-second speeding in the pit lane. Can't really hurt his finishing time, as he is now 2 laps down. And now Gronk fading back on this train. When will Squatch and Matt be able to catch up to him, or will he have enough pace to hang on to the back of this train and maybe keep DRS? The headwear you should buy is the trucker hat. That would be my go-to. No, there's not. Now the leader's out of DRS, so shouldn't see too much battling up front anymore. Kryptonic and Lucid around 1.5 seconds behind, and Dismal 7 seconds, still defending this train. See if Fawn's able to get anything done with the DRS once again. Looks like he is as close as he's gotten around the outside. Dismal tried to keep that position, but Fawn able to tiptoe around and keep it clean around the outside of turns 1 and 2 and take that position. Hard to stay side by side in Sector 1 of Japan. Probably almost impossible to do. And now Fawn, almost a second gap between him and Dismal, pushing him right out of the DRS, and Dismal probably going to have to lead another train behind him, as Yuppie is close behind. Yuppie 2/10 behind, and then his teammate Cloud only 3/10 behind, and yeah, Yuppie sniffing that bumper into the final chicane. Now with the DRS, I mean, should be able to breeze by, as Dismal's going to be vulnerable here. So there goes Yuppie up into P5. Poised for some double-digit points, but Dismal right behind, and Cloud not far behind him. This helped keep Gronk in the DRS train. Squatch still 7 seconds behind. That time is increasing with every lap that passes. The top couple now out of DRS. This is really where the only battle on the track is happening. Top 3 all 2 seconds away from each other. Fourth, 7 seconds. 2 seconds away is Yuppie down the road, but the McLaren teammates putting pressure on Yuppie. Gronk just hoping to stay with him on these medium tires. And then Squatch 7 seconds back. Matt 4 seconds behind him. Voda 7 seconds and a penalty. Flame is disqualified, and the Williams pair in what would be 12th and 13th. We'll see how Gronk is keeping up. See if there's anything in front of him, and see if the McLaren teammates will do a swap in this DRS zone. As Gronk may be going a little deep there. Tires probably not doing the best. It's now Dismal getting the place back on Yuppie. Full tan or charcoal gray? I would probably say charcoal gray. Yuppie feeling the McLaren sandwich. I can make a shirt. Okay. Cloud now looking to get by Yuppie. Okay, I will make a shirt then. I didn't know everyone wanted one. I'll like post the link in an announcement or something, since some people don't know where the merch store is or if it exists. Only a couple more laps to go here. The field spread is quite thick. Okay, Pizza, I will get on that and send a link in announcements at some point. I don't know when. I'll ping everyone though. Oh, Cloud having a little bit of a moment. I think we don't get any of a cut. We've put it as low of a price as we can. You might get like $2, maybe $5 at the most. Here comes Yuppie around Dismal. He gets the move done. We have another caution. Yuppie takes the place back for 5th. McLaren's behind. Just wait, I'll get you your shirt. Gronk with a 3-second time penalty. Another caution. Not sure what is going on. But yeah, the field spread everywhere else is pretty bad for racing, and we've got this little DRS train that we've been able to watch. Both McLaren's, Gronk hanging onto the back of it, and Yuppie and Dismal have been battling it out to lead this train, and now we're going to head into the final lap of the race. We'll see if Dismal's able to make the move. And this is the only DRS zone of the lap, as it looks like Yuppie gets away well, and this is going to be a heroic move if Dismal's able to get alongside. Keeps his teammate behind, and looks to the inside, doesn't see anything, and Yuppie stays ahead for now. We'll stay on board with Dismal for a little bit, see if there's anything going on through Sector 1. We have a yellow, not sure who it is. The Williams driver just cutting the grass as 10-second time penalty for exceeding track limits in all caps. Dismal's still right behind Yuppie. Maybe going to be able to make a move into 130R, but yet to be seen, and we should see him using plenty of deploy here. So we have a caution once again. Pretty sure just the Williams car. Thank you, Nightbat, for that plug. Looks like Hitch is going to come across the line to win the Japanese Grand Prix. Kryptonic second, Lucid in third. Fawn a ways back and forth. See these two. Let's see if Cloud looks like to be the one to make the move around the outside, and Dismal around the inside, and there's contact, and now drivers kind of flying off everywhere, but Yuppie's going to hold the position, and now the McLaren teammates right next to each other, well, now fanned out a little bit. Yuppie, Dismal, Cloud steers it into the pit wall to celebrate with his teammates, a couple points. And Squatch in P9, an uneventful race for him. Matt in P10, good recovery from, I think, the start that we've seen from him. 10-second corner cutting for 7. He's lost about 2 or 3 laps. Vivoda in 11th place. Flame disqualified. Anime in 12th place. Sevens will be 13th, but there is your race winner with Kryptonic as well, right behind. 3 seconds. Yeah, the field spread quite a ways, but we did have a battle. 5th, 6th, 7th. Gronk a little ways behind, but he was there in 8th. Just had that penalty, so looks worse than it was. But Hitch with yet another win, and probably coming to dire straits for this championship for Kryptonic. Only 7 points at a time. It's going to take probably a DNF at some point to get him caught up and fighting for a championship. Hitch going to extend his lead. 19 points for Kryptonic, but 33 for Hitch. So extending his lead up to above 50 points. Here is your race director. Not too many warnings for everyone. Just 7 is probably half of these. And then here are your gaps in the race. Gaps and penalties. Hitch also with the fastest lap. So there is everything, and we don't need that. I mean, that is kind of helpful to see. Here's how every team scored before the Steward results. So Alpine wins this weekend with Aston Martin scoring 24 points. And next week we will be in Austria. So we hope to see you there, and thank you for watching this either on Twitch or YouTube, and no matter what time, whether you watched it live or are watching some form of replay, we appreciate your support. We appreciate you watching the content. And obviously, we don't do much editing or short form content. We just got the long live stream of the raw footage. So we appreciate you guys sticking around, and most of you guys are a part of the community, so obviously we appreciate you guys driving, and if you're not driving, just being able to spectate and participate. And I'll always be thankful for that, and thankful for what we have came from, to just being one measly tier a couple years ago to now 3 full tiers that are all streamed. And sometimes it can be a little hectic, but it's always good to see what the drivers are able to do, and to see some of the battles that unfold through the season and through different races. So it's a cool experience to be a part of, and I'm thankful that we've built up the community that we have. So thank you guys for watching, and we hope to see you next week in Austria. Have a good night, and hope to see you then.